channel. I'm back again on another Monday, and this week I am going to be doing a review of the book Pivot by L.C. Barlow. Now, before we get started, I just want to say this book was gifted to me by the author in exchange for an honest review. And I just want to say, quick side note, that any time an author or publisher has come to me and asked me to read and review a book, I can just, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, because honestly it means so much to me to be able to do that. And to think that, you've seen my blog or my YouTube channel or anything, and you've thought, I want to ask her if she wants to read the book. It's honestly such a blessing. It's so kind, and I really, really appreciate it. Also, thank you to anyone who's, followed my blog or subscribed to my YouTube this week. So, to begin the review, I want to just take a quick look at the cover, because obviously this is where you start, isn't it? The cover is actually kind of cool. Obviously I think from the cover you can tell already just by, a glance that it is quite a dark book. I mean, there's blood on the cover, so kind of see where this one's going a little bit. But to give you some background knowledge on the book as well, I'm going to give you a little read through of the blurb. So, let's begin. For some, the devil is a monster. For Jack Harper, the devil is her saviour. His name is Cyrus. He's the leader of a mysterious cult that he holds in thrall with his dark charisma and even darker powers. Jack Harper is his newest convert and favoured acolyte. After rescuing her from homelessness, Cyrus is teaching her all his darkest secrets: how to kill, how to steal, and how to control others. But his darkest secret is contained in a small box that holds untold power. Jack makes it her mission to find out what's inside the box, and in doing so sets off a supernatural battle of wits with Cyrus. Sorry about that. The price of failure will be her soul, while the prize for her victory will be her freedom. Oh, juicy. Now, I must admit, I don't know about that. When I first read the blurb from this book, because obviously L.C. Barlow did send me an email with the blurb on to give me, an idea of what it was all about, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting, and I was like, I really have to give this a go. So, I want to also just let you know the themes of this book, because it is a very dark book, and I think if you're not you kind of got to be in the right mental state to read it. I don't know how else to put that. You've got to be in the right mental state to be reading this book, and you've got to kind of not be affected, too badly affected by any of the themes that are brought up in this book. So we have themes of animal abuse, child abuse, violence, gore, I guess horror, because I think it is a horror actually. I think it is supernatural horror. So gore, death, murder, the list kind of goes on. So just to be aware that those are the main. Oh, sorry, I forgot about drug abuse though. While I'm on. Those are kind of the main themes of this book. So I feel if you're not in the right mental state, you've been affected by any of these yourself, and feel like it might be too much for you, then I would definitely recommend that you don't read this, because it is a really heavy read. It's not easy to read at all. And I don't mean that in necessarily a bad way, it's just that it is intense, and obviously, like I said, it's very dark. And I myself was having my own mental health things going on while I was trying to read this book, so instead of reading it kind of all in one day and being deeply upset or disturbed by anything that was mentioned in the book, I actually decided that I would read a couple of chapters and then read another book in between and then go back to this one. So in all, it took about a month for me to complete this book, just because I needed that time myself to be able to read it in. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to mention, just in case you are affected by any of the issues raised. Then please just know that I have warned you profusely that they are in this book. So, to begin with, I want to talk about, the protagonist, Jack, who, the problem with this book is that I feel like none of the characters are necessarily relatable, and I mean the reason for that is because at some point they all murder someone, so, relatable? Probably not. not the word I would use for these characters in this book. What I will say for Jack and Alex, actually, even though Alex does turn out to be quite the evil child, quite the evil person, I guess I do feel sorry for them to some extent, because obviously they are suffering from the most severe child abuse under Cyrus's kind of watch. So I do, in quite a lot of ways, I feel quite sorry for them. Because obviously they're doing what they think will please Cyrus, and they're doing it because Cyrus has manipulated them into thinking, if you don't, go ahead and murder this person for me, then you're out. You're in trouble. I'm coming to get you. So in their minds, they're constantly thinking, well, especially in the young years, they're thinking, I want the attention from him, I want the love from him. So anytime they feel like getting that, then they keep doing the same things over and over again just to keep getting the same reaction from him. Because obviously they think he's their father and, whatever. I actually think on Alex's side of things, Cyrus is his biological father, potentially. So because of that reason, Alex is even more jealous of Jack, and the love and attention that she gets from Cyrus, he also thinks, I want some of that. I want to be in on that action. And so he gets very jealous, and he does some really horrible and disgusting things to Jack to prove a point. And I think there's just really no redemption for his character at a certain point. Once you get near the end of the book, I'm not going to say anything because it will spoil it, but just to say that once you get near the end of the book, you'll understand why he can't be redeemed, and you'll understand totally why Jack hates him so much. But also Cyrus as a character, he is obviously evil. He is power centric. He wants all the power in the world. He basically wants to be Satan. Like he is over here saying, "I am the devil. Don't mess with me." And it's all just because of the power he's got from having this box. Which the whole thing about the box is obviously explained in the book, so I'm not going to talk too much about that because I don't want to spoil it. But Cyrus basically has all of his power from having this box, and from other mysterious things he's got hidden in his house. Definitely can't go into that one because it will ruin it. But yeah, I just think Cyrus, there was no way to redeem him. Like he keeps claiming he's got all this love for his children, Alex and Jack, but really he doesn't. I feel like it's all a pretense for saying, you're here doing all of my dirty work for me while I can just sit back and relax at a certain point. And I think that in itself just sort of shows what kind of character Cyrus is. He's very unpleasant, he's just evil to the core. He has really no time for anyone but himself, and all he knows is that he wants all the power in the world, he wants to control everyone, and that's literally it. And it's just pathetic, It's really kind of sad, but not in like a, oh, I feel so sorry for them. It's more like, you're just a really pathetic person, So that's that on Cyrus. Alex, his biological son, I believe, because I might have just kind of forgotten if he is or not. But I do believe Alex is his biological son. He also turns out to be evil and manipulative and just absolutely awful. And I don't think he's going to be redeemed. I feel like maybe there's going to be more from him in the sequel of this book. I feel. You'll understand why if you read it yourself. I feel like maybe there's something else to go along with that. But at this point he's irredeemable as well. He's a lot like Cyrus, and he's so desperate for the attention and love for him that he'll do literally anything to get it. And he kind of knows he can get away with anything when it comes to Cyrus, so he pushes all of the buttons. And yeah, he has some consequences, but they're not severe enough that it's going to stop him from doing whatever he wants to do to hurt Jack, So there's that. And also we've got Roland, who is mentioned at the very beginning of the book, because Roland, I'm trying to be a spoiler for the camp, but for this one moment I'm going to just break that. Basically Roland is the very first person that Jack kills, but then Cyrus brings back to life, and this all happens in the first chapter of the book, so I wouldn't necessarily say it is a spoiler, because you'll know it's going to happen straight away anyway, You're sort of invested in it from the moment it begins. But Roland as a character, I feel like, it was the only one that had any chance of redemption by the end of it. Because as much as you wanted to hate Roland for the fact that he had killed people, you know, the way he gets his redemption is sort of it's nice, you know, and I think I don't know how else to describe it without like just bursting out and saying what he did, but basically Roland, I feel like he really genuinely does love Jack and he really wants to help her. And he will do anything to kind of prevent any harm from coming to her as well. So that's his redeeming quality, is that he's protective of her and won't let harm come to her. But then some of the other things he's done make him irredeemable as well. So it's a really difficult one to say where Roland fits in this. But the book generally, I found that it was actually really good. It's weird to say whether you enjoyed it or not, but I feel like I did. Not necessarily it's difficult to say, it's because obviously it is so dark and because of the themes in the book. I don't know if you, I don't know, like, are you meant to enjoy it? I don't know, it's just so hard to say, but for me personally, I loved the beginning and I loved the end. And I mean, it is a short book. I mean, let's have a look how many pages it's got. 224 pages, so it is short. But I feel like some parts in the middle might have been slightly repetitive, which is the reason that my rating for this book got knocked down ever so slightly. Doesn't mean it's not in any way a bad, you know, it's not a bad review at all. There's like, it's such a strange one for me to try and review and say like, this is what was so good, this is what was so, like, could have been improved. But it's like, it's so, I don't know how to describe it, but there were some parts that were really good and some parts that need improvement. But overall it was good, you know, overall I thought it was really good, and for that reason I am going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Because, you know, I actually enjoyed Jack's character development. I think that was the one thing that kind of brought the book back to life almost, kind of, as you're approaching the end of it. I want to say this, in no means is this book in any way boring. You know, I'd try my best to never give any book that word. You know, I hate using the word boring when it comes to describing books. But like I said, there were just parts in the centre of the book I felt a bit repetitive. And I felt like there could have been a bit more exploration at times. What I liked about Jack's development, and you know, myself personally, was that you saw her from the ages of 7, 10, and 17. And obviously she has the most character development sort of near the end of the book because she's grown up and she's become a young adult, and she's starting to think, maybe this just isn't the life I want anymore, you know, maybe I want to move on and do something else and possibly be a better person. And so, you know, that's the only time when I kind of looked at Jack and thought she might be a little bit relatable, purely because she's having that moment where she's thinking, I want to do something else in my life. And I think kind of at that age, a lot of teenagers are the same way. They're kind of thinking like, what am I going to do next? Because obviously a lot of teenagers have just finished school or they're going off into college or university. Well, yeah, I don't know about university. Maybe in the US, maybe. I don't know what the ages for university are there, but maybe, you know. But going at like coming to the end of school and going to college, and I feel like that in itself is a pivotal moment for her, you know. No pun intended, but I'm kind of proud of that one, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, for her as a character, that kind of made the book more enjoyable again. Just to see how she did change, you know, like I think that was really, it was almost inspirational. It wasn't inspirational, but it was almost inspirational, you know. Yeah, but just generally, it is a really good book. I do highly recommend you read it if you know this is your sort of thing. I mean, it's not to say it's anyone's sort of thing in that respect, you know, considering what I've mentioned, but it is really good, and I feel like if you're into sort of like horrors and psych thrillers and thrillers generally, then this one will be, you know, up your street. So definitely give it a go. And that's that for this week. That's my review done and dusted. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And also thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again next week since I am actually looking like I'm sticking to my schedule this time. Yay for me. So yeah, hit the subscribe button for the next week's video. I'll move on quickly from that. Hit the button, and I'll see you again next week with a book haul. So have a great week, everyone.